Garry, thanks for taking the time. First of all, how's your summer been?
What summer? No, it's been good, but with the essence of planning and organising stuff, and like you do in this role, and obviously with Ben and the rest of the club, just making sure that we're organised, ready when we came back in and planned. So a lot of things going on behind the scenes, but ultimately, all positive stuff as well.
Certainly been busy. First of all, you must be pleased to have retained the majority of the lads that we offered contracts to: Catch, Bros, SK, Mams and Glenn.
Yeah, look, an important part of recruitment is we always talk about who's coming in, what new players are coming in, but what a really important part is who you actually retain. So delighted with the lads that we've been able to retain, and the fact that they've, the positive discussions with them at the end of the season, and their level of commitment to wanting to be here, because that's the key, is having players that want to be here, and something that I'm very big on, and I know the club are big on as well, and for those guys to re-sign, and but it's about the quality that they bring. So we often talk about new players coming in, which there will be and there has been, but it's just as important, if not even more important, that you retain the ones that in terms of you need to retain. So those guys signing, they all bring different qualities. They're all good players, but I think there's a lot more in them. That's another reason for retaining them, is I think there's more in them, along with the guys that are already here, and that's what we're working towards, bringing that out through the pre-season and into the season that's coming.
And on Mamadou, bit of a negative. I understand he suffered a serious injury recently.
Yeah, literally a couple of days before we came back in, and he reported an injury. So obviously then he was assessed when we were back in last week, and unfortunately for us, it's not good news. It's a huge blow. So Mamadou's a significant knee injury, an ACL, which were kind of devastated for ourselves, but especially for him. He was a big part of my plans this season, having done so well at the end of last season, and it'll be a long-term one. We don't know the exact time frames, but it'll be a large chunk of this season, so it's a huge blow for all of us. But we're there to support him. It's part of the journey. As a footballer, at times, unfortunately, these sort of things happen, and it dents my idea of what I had planned for him this season. But what happens when that situation happens is you focus on what's ahead and make sure that we could give him the right support. So it's not good news to begin the season for us in that department, but we'll be there to support him, get him back right. He's lucky in the sense he's very young, so he should recover really well if he does the rehab right, which I'm sure he will. We've made an important point about that, and when he does come back, is to try and continue where he left off. So we're hugely upset for him and for ourselves, in terms of what we had planned, but it's part of the journey, and we have to deal with that, and I'm sure we will.
And I guess with that in mind, it makes it all the more important that you brought in a couple of lads in particular that you already have done in Kel Watts and James Gibbons, who we know is such a sort of versatile player at the back.
Yeah, no, look, that was always part of the plan anyway, even before Mamadou's injury. So Kel coming in, again, the right profile, the right age, type of player, character, all those things that you look for when you're recruiting new players. He comes, and I guess the ultimate bit is, as well as the players you already got in here, a big part of it is looking for players that have got a point to prove and are hungry to do well. That characteristics are really important to me and for this team and for the club. So Kel brings that, and obviously Gibber, we all know Gibber. I can only speak of my time that I had with him at the end of last season. He was a brilliant, for me in that phase, and really consistent. He's very professional. He's got great experience, but he's got, again, a hunger to do well and kick on, and when you have that with even experienced players, not just young players, I think that's always a recipe for success.
And more recently as well, Shane Lavery and Vicente. What can you tell us about those?
Easy for you to say that. Yeah. No, again, anyone that we bring in, we're obviously delighted to have them. There's a reason why we wanted to bring them in, and with Shane, the calibre of Shane, I think it's a really good show of intent and positivity from the club and for ourselves, and the way that we look at him is obviously he's a striker, so ultimately you want goals from your striker, But I just look at him in a way where I think he's more than capable of scoring goals and doing really well and being more prolific than probably he's had the opportunity to do in the past. So we're delighted to have him in. And obviously with Vinny as well, obviously with Will leaving, it's important that we strengthen that area, and Vinny's a really exciting prospect. He's not got lots of experience behind him, but what he is a very, 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 very good goalkeeper. So it's good competition in that place, and yeah, that's what we need as well to make it as competitive a squad as possible. And we know it's going to be a tough season, a long season. So you're going to need a good, robust squad to be able to handle that, and that's what we're trying to build towards. And those guys help, obviously, this initial stage, so we're delighted to have them in.
Still a lot of work to do on the recruitment front?
Yeah, there always is. As any coach or manager, you want good players, and if you can recruit good players, but the most important bit is they have to be the right players. So as desperate as it can feel at times, where you'd love everyone to be in on day one and the whole squad completed, it never works like that anyway. We know that's from experience. So, but we're delighted to have the early ones in that we have, and like we're continuously working behind the scenes, the club and everyone involved in that process to try and add to the squad, because we know we need to. But it's really important. It's players that are obviously what we need, but players that are the right ones. That's the most crucial bit.
And it's just been announced that we've brought in Jason Newell today. What can you tell us about him, and how pleased are you to have been able to move so quickly? Yeah,
so it was a situation where, to be fair, across the summer we've had to do a little bit of recruitment around staffing, and we've done really well with that and acted really fast. Obviously, timing-wise with Kev, a little bit unexpected, but we wish Kev well, moving on, and then obviously to try and act quick. So Jason comes with huge experience, both as a player and as a coach, and the qualities that he brings, I've got no doubt are going to help the players. So we're delighted to welcome Jason. His character will fit in really well with the staff and kind of the culture we're trying to build here, and straight to work. But he's a really good addition for us. So we're delighted again to get that process quickly done and resolved and ready to move forward.
More generally, everyone's been back in for about a week or so now. How pleased are you with how everyone's equipped themselves?
Yeah, everyone's returned in a good way. Spoke at the end of last season. We set out certain things for the players that remain here, and sort of the condition that they need to be in to return, and they've all hit their markers, so that's a good sign. We were just ready to work, and that's what we've been doing for this first full week now. We were in last week previous to get the right testing done, but it's been a really good week so far. We've finished this week strong, and then keep moving through pre-season.
What do you hope to see from the players over the course of the next few weeks, in particular with the friendlies, and how much emphasis do you place on results in friendlies? I know managers are different sometimes in the way they view them.
Yeah, no, look, I think what you understand with pre-season from a coach point of view is nothing's won in pre-season. What you're trying to do is build the players into, the main aim is to hit the first game of the season ready, and then take that into the rest of the season. So what we do a lot of work around is building obviously a physical foundation which can carry them into the season beyond, which is a long season, but then also to work on the things that we want to work on and the kind of team that we want to be, and what you want to see in pre-season is elements of that coming out in each and every game. But there's no prizes to be won in pre-season, but what we are going to do, and which we are doing, is work extremely hard. We're going to push the players to hopefully a new level from before, in terms of all those areas, and then look at the way we want to play and the characteristics of the way we want to play, and see that coming out not just only in the trainings but the pre-season games. That's what I look for. So it won't be the complete package for all those games, but there's certain things in each game as we build that we'll be looking for from the players that we've worked on to be coming out in those games, and really build it towards that first game of the season and beyond.
And finally, any big takeaways from the fixtures? I know that we play every team twice, but was there anything that stood out for you, or anything that you looked at?
Nah, I'll be honest, I'm not one for that. Like, you've got to play everyone at some point. So I don't really care, if I'm honest with you. Obviously, my only thought process is building the players ready for the first game of the season against Stockport, and making sure we got there ready. And do ourselves what we want to do. And a big emphasis this season will be on us, and focus on us and how we play and what we want to do on the football pitch. And that's what pre-season we focused on. So no, I don't pay too much attention. There's always the odd fixture here and there with your neighbours and the derby games and stuff like that. But no, it's all focuses on for that first game of the season, and that's what we're working towards now.